Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool, Daddy Slick Breeze. And I have with me Eric, the Who Man.
The Who Man?
McCall. McCabe.
Wow. What the heck, dude?
You're just
I'm trying to be efficient.
Shasta, Illinois.
Well, you guys are wearing almost the same color shirt, so.
I mean, it's different enough.
Seafoam.
But also, what the heck, dude? Where's your shirt at?
Yeah, why aren't you wearing a shirt today?
Wait, what? Am I morphing?
On Tuesdays, we wear teal.
Teal.
What was the girl in
Hashtag
the
Teal
Avengers?
Tuesday.
No, the DC comic that would change shape.
Please don't do that.
So,
Are you talking about Mystique?
Mystique, because of the color that I am Mystique.
Yeah. Oh, that is kind of
And
like
the body
that.
shape, the little.
Well, similar. Yeah, I'd call it similar.
And Robert,
So
McCabe.
about to marry somebody, McCall.
I am. Well, I mean, I am.
Wait, you're married.
I'm married,
Right.
But I'm going to perform a wedding. That's true.
So, anyway, all right, guys. Well, this is the Disc Golf Answer Man show where we answer your disc golf questions. Sometimes it takes us about 10 minutes to get to your disc golf questions. So, you can fast forward about 10 minutes and we'll get to your questions.
Or you can recognize that this is the important stuff and just hang with us during this.
Kind of like
well.
Johnny V does. He only listens to the bookends. He listens to the very beginning and a little bit at the end just to catch that. Otherwise, he knows everything about disc golf, so he has no need.
That's what
to
I've
listen
heard
to
about
disc golf
him.
questions. So
When you're
I
really
usually watch the beginning of Smashbox and wake up the next morning and catch the end of it.
Yeah.
when you're really tall like Johnny V, like is disc golf easy if you have really long arms?
It's easy to throw far.
You wouldn't tell from his scores.
Yeah.
Hey-o!
Got him. He's mad.
He's mad.
So if you had watched us on YouTube, you're listening to us now, but if you had watched us on YouTube, we had shown a quick little video of a course out in Piasta, Iowa, the Kelly Oaks Park, a recent 9-hole course that Eric finished designing, and they're not quite done with it, but it was ready to get some people out there on the tee pads and play. So, but Eric, tell us a little bit about this course and what people in that area can look forward to.
Of course. I know there's a pretty decent disc golf scene in the area, in Iowa in general, but it's in the northeast corner of Iowa, kind of close to the Illinois state line. So we had a few disc golfers come out that day and enjoy the course and play it 2 or 3 times. So I'm excited for the course, honestly. It's pretty short, technical, I would call it. Big, mature trees, lots of rolling hills. And this was the course that I don't know if our listeners remember, but I also got to design a walking path that goes kind of through the course or through the park rather, and just to kind of avoid areas where disc golf and disc golf and the walking path can coexist, which is really great. I mean, it's kind of unheard of. Usually how it works is you design a course, put it in, and then they decide to try to design a walking path. And then they butcher the course design because there's, you're throwing across it so that was really great to be able to, have that opportunity. But the course is going to be good. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's a nice community. When we were driving up in the RV, I mentioned to Eric that, wow, I didn't realize Iowa had such really cool rolling hills and nice cornfields. And it was just a really nice neighborhood. And it was really, you could tell that the town, because a few people that showed up from the town that worked in, what would they work in?
Like the community or the parks department?
Yeah, they came in and they bought some discs and they went out and played.
They did.
And they were really excited about having this disc golf park there.
We did an official ribbon cutting on the course, which is really cool.
So it was really cool. So I just think it's cool to see disc golf grow in these areas where people maybe have heard about it, but hadn't quite access to a disc golf course. But now they have an access to a nice, casual, yet challenging 9-hole course out there. So really cool stuff.
Nice.
So while we were working, Robert, what were you doing?
While you guys were out on the road, I was here working on things. I was writing a wedding. I'm performing Eric Oakley and Tina Stenitis' wedding in 3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
Nervous?
Nah, not really.
What if you mess up? What if you say something wrong?
That's probably going to happen.
I take Rachel.
And I'll do.
Remember?
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing as I always do when I'm speaking poorly, and I'll just say words, and it'll be fun.
That'll be appropriate.
Yeah, I'll move on. Hey, the weddings that I do are not like super, like formal and stuff. Like you want to tell the story of the couple who's getting married. So
are you going to use the word putter pants?
I will not say putter pants.
Will you say whale pants?
I will not say whale.
Will you say whale sacks?
I won't say any of those. I'm just going to talk about Eric and Tina. That's all.
That
you just talk about Eric and Tina.
There will be jokes and fun, and it'll be great. I asked them some questions about each other, so I'm going to share those
separately.
Separately of one another.
So they're not sure. They're not sure.
It's like
exactly.
a newlywed game.
And it's not like embarrassing stuff or whatever, but it was funny.
It's all going to be caught on video because I'm recording it. You know that, right?
I'm super nervous now.
And I'm probably going to mic you up because you'll be right.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you'll be right there. So you'll be the one that will be able to capture.
Perfect.
That might be challenging. Anyway, so we're super excited about headed out.
Yeah, we're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
That's on Nantucket Island.
Yeah.
I haven't been. Bobby hasn't been.
Nope.
Don't think Rusco's been. We're going to play the B tier that's there the next day and then head over to Vermont for Worlds right after. So we will not be here next week.
Yep. So
I will be.
Rip.
Exciting
It'll be
stuff.
just like earlier when we were trying to turn
I
off
will
the
just
AC.
come in and do everything and record and answer without any guidance from Bobby.
With you and all three of the split screens.
And I'm going to bring down my big head picture from upstairs and put it behind me.
We should have done it this time. Just and not said anything. That's hilarious.
That thing is great. Hey, you got a new phone case, Bobby. Yours is like mine.
Yes.
As a baby.
Oh, Eric, look.
Oh, you got your phone fixed.
Yeah, there's no cracks in it or anything.
Well, how'd you do that?
They did it at the Apple Store, $169.
You went to the Apple Store?
Yeah, you have to go to an Apple Store.
In Kansas City or what?
Leawood, Kansas.
Okay, Kansas City.
Okay, so Kansas City. But it takes about an hour and a half.
All right, I need to do that because my phone be cracked.
So if you've got an iPhone and you need it fixed, like when I would go to an iPhone repair store or a mobile device, they $400. They said. But only $169 at the Apple Store.
I swear I got mine done for like a couple $100 at one of those CPR places, but
maybe the people here were just trying to screw me over.
Maybe.
So, but it wasn't like they said, "Oh yeah, we can do it, $400, we got it done." They were like,
I think Shannon does it too, or used to do it. I should ask him.
Maybe I should ask him to see what the price is. So anyway, back to disc golf.
Nah.
So that's what's going on here with us guys. So thanks for that.
Right.
I do want to say right before we get into the questions, because we have quite a few questions. So something that we're trying to make sure that people know about, and I want to make sure that we tell people on the Disc Golf Answer Show, because it is really a good thing to exist, and that's the Buyback program.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it before a while back on the show, but for some of our new viewers, what it is we have participating disc golf pro shops.
Yeah, retailers.
And they participate in what's called the Buyback program. What does that mean is you can walk into a store and you could pick either a Dynamic Discs Latitude 64 or Westside Discs disc.
Mm-hmm.
And if within 14 days, you don't mark it up or tear it up, whatever. But if you aren't happy, if you're like, man, this isn't quite the disc for me, you can take it back and they will give you credit toward either another disc from our lineup or some other lineup.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
Yeah, as long as you bring it back and it's not super trashed,
Right.
You don't use Sharpie on it. You've got your receipt. They'll make good on it.
And most of the stores have signage, so you know that they're Buyback partners. But if they don't, ask them. Say, hey, are you a Buyback partner with Dynamic Discs? And if they say yes, then you have that 14 days. If they say no, they might need to consider doing it.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and that gives them access to the special edition discs that we put out, which are usually the first edition of the burst ones of those. Also, first runs and mostly just Buyback exclusives. They get access to those, which means you have access to those.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get to the questions now. Remember, guys, to go to discgolfanswerman.com, submit your disc golf questions. We will get it on the air. The first one is from the Pope.
Like the Pope?
It just says Pope.
Wow.
Where to start when running first event?
Okay.
Hello, I'm a 21-year-old player who loves to play in every event possible. I love tournaments. Recently, I played a course and fell in love with it, and when I later found out that a tournament hasn't played at that course in years, I felt like I needed to run one. Running a tournament is something I've always wanted to do, but I have no idea where to begin. So my question is, where do I begin? And what steps should I take both locally and with PDGA to run a great event?
There's a lot of options out there for running an event. And I mean, and I know we kind of stress this a lot, and I think I'm not trying to beat a dead horse or anything like that, but I would just start out with something simple like a trilogy challenge, just to get the word out, get people on the course, and then kind of move on from there. And maybe even in the same year potentially, because you could run a smaller, maybe start out with like a C tier type of an event. And I'll tell you one thing: it never hurts to approach the city, the like CVB, the Visitors Bureau, those kind of places, the Chamber of Commerce. those kind of places go to, and let them know what you're doing and see if they can help you in any way and give you any type of support. I mean, that's kind of how, honestly, that's how Glassblown Open all got started and started to grow awareness and get as big as it is, because I approached the CVB and the Visitors Bureau and let them know what was going on, and they helped out as much as they can. And now I feel like without them, it would be very, very challenging to even do the GBO. So, I mean, that's a great place to start.
That's what I would say too. I would just also say talk to people who have run them before and prepare as much as you can ahead of time. The more preparation you can do ahead of time, the better the event will go off. Guaranteed.
And something, when the event is over, always remember, you don't always have to pay attention to the people that are like calling you out online or saying one thing or the other. Typically, that's what you hear. You never really get to hear, man, you did a great job.
Yeah.
You know,
which is why at a lot of tournaments, I'll try to find the tournament director, especially if they did well, and say, hey, man.
Yeah. And that just kind of goes out to all you tournament players out there, too. When you go and do play tournaments, I highly encourage you doing that. Just going and saying thank you and yeah.
For sure.
For sure. Next one comes from Kevin, and this is about discs.
Schaefer?
No,
Probably.
He needs a lot of help.
Yeah,
I've been more of a recreational player. Yeah, definitely Kevin Schaefer.
Got him. Sandbagger.
He's our graphics designer, and he listens to the show. So shout out to Kevin for being a rec player. There's nothing wrong with being a rec player. I'm just saying. I have been a more of a recreational player, but I'm getting more and more into the game. I have heard of a lot of great things about dynamic discs, except when you get made fun of on a radio podcast show. I was wondering, what driver would you recommend for someone who has never used this brand and throws with more power?
Power. Depends on what kind of power you're talking about. It's
More.
Really, oh, okay.
The one with more.
In that case, I'll take the most overstable thing we got.
Yes.
There are some really good distance driver choices that Dynamic Discs has. Probably the most workable one is the Trespass. That's really good for shaping lines, throwing really straight, kind of.
It's such a good disc.
It's just really good. That's all there is to it. But if if your version of more power is the same as,
Tim the Toolman Taylor,
what we're kind of thinking, Tim, definitely. And who's a neighbor? Wilson? Yeah. If you're just peeking through the fence. Yeah. You might want to try a Defender or an Enforcer. They're very high-speed overstable and low-speed overstable.
Mm-hmm.
You can really lean into them and trust them to do whatever you want them to.
I would recommend also picking up a Biofusion Enforcer.
Yeah,
because that disc, it'll kind of show you. It's such a great disc. It'll kind of show you what kind of arm speed you do have.
Right.
Like, and that disc, in my opinion, can be used by just about anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, slower arm players, not quite as much, but it could still be a great headwind flyer for them. Mm-hmm. So I'd recommend picking up one of those and then kind of going from there.
Right. If it's going straight for you, then yeah, you do have probably pretty decent arm power, and you can move up to a Lucid Enforcer or a Lucid Defender, something like that.
All right, next one comes from. We'll come back to that one. Booth. Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man. I've recently run a sanctioned league and noticed the ratings penalize the higher-rated players. While this is great for the lower-rated player, most of the higher-rated players have stopped coming out to the rated leagues for this reason alone. My question is, what can the PDJ do to help with this issue? Adjust the league rating, add more points to the pool, take an average of for the course and factor that in. Let us know your thoughts. Enjoy the podcast. Keep up the great work.
Well, this is a hard one because leagues are different and ratings are determined by the people who show up to the league. A lot of times people who show up to league are locals to the area, so they play the course particularly well, and that doesn't actually represent how well they would play a lot of different courses, right? So a lot of times that's going to bring the ratings down because people who are rated lower are going to play a little bit better there. I don't know what the solution is to that. I've never played a league that was a rated league, but I don't know if I would either because of the ratings thing. Like,
well, you wouldn't now for sure,
right? In my current situation,
yes.
100% no, I wouldn't. If there wasn't a bet on the line, ratings probably still not. But
ratings suck anyway. Like it sucks because this is a perfect example of why they suck, because you have people not coming to play your event because of ratings. Mm-hmm. That's why they suck.
Yeah.
They suck.
But also, I get it.
No, I do. I get it. I understand why we have them and that we do need some form of something.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they don't suck. That's my opinion.
That's fair.
This one is from Josh. My friends and I have begun watching a lot of professional disc golf coverage on YouTube. See, guys, I told you. Oh, they're not listening. No. I have never been to a professional disc golf tournament, and I'm wondering what the difference is between the PDGA, the DGPT, majors, and how all of these factors into determining the best player in the world.
Cool.
Great. Go for it.
These are all, every event you talked about is under the PDGA umbrella right now. DGPT is a tour created by Steve Dodge.
The Disc Golf Pro Tour, if you're not familiar.
Yes, Disc Golf Pro Tour of Maple Hill. He's the one that lives next to Maple Hill. He used to do the Vibram Open, all that good stuff. He wanted something for the pros, so he started what was called the Disc Golf Pro Tour, or DGPT. It's kind of its own entity, so to speak. He's kind of reached out to pretty well-established events that used to be on the PDGA National Tour, or just happen to be big events, and just kind of wanted to, I don't want to say piggyback off of them, because that's absolutely not what I'm trying to say, but use the Pro Tour model, I suppose, in their events, which for certain events, it's great. Like the Memorial, for instance, it's great for them because somebody else can come in and, you can do the stats, you can get the footage, the live coverage, all that fun stuff. So, that's kind of the Pro Tour, I would say. And then what else is there?
Big fundraising behind those.
Yep. And
deeper payouts. And
then they have a finale at the end of the year and all that.
Big time payout there too.
And then majors and NTs. Did you say NTs?
No, but you probably should know about that.
Yeah, majors are, it depends on how many there are each year. It kind of changes. You can always guarantee that there will be a world championship, at least one major in Europe, and then the USDGC typically every year. So a couple, 3 to 4 every year is what I would say.
Yep. And those fall under the PDGA umbrella as well.
Those are run by the PDGA, actually.
Right.
Well, the most of them are run by the PDGA. That everybody plays by the same rules. There's a few different regulations for Disc Golf Pro Tour. Then there are other events, and then the NT is basically just the PDGA's version of DGPT as far as playing. You play them all, you get points, qualify for bonus money at the end of the year, which is pretty healthy payday.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know if I answered your question or not. I hope I did.
Yeah, I think that was good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm going to try to, I think, but I hear some bad feedback. Hold on, guys. I'm going to try to play some of the speak pipe, but I think we're having...
That's not bad.
Yeah, hold on. All right, here's the first one for speak pipe.
Hey, guys. Ron Mitchell here out of Mountain Valley, Kansas, which is about 2 hours southeast of you guys there in Emporia. I watched episode 230 this afternoon, and I really enjoyed it. I'd like to give a little background before I ask my question. I started playing about two and a half months ago to regain some stamina that I lost after 2 years of treatments for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Man, I love playing the game. I get out and play it every chance I get. I go out and throw every chance I get. I watch the tournaments on YouTube every chance I get. Probably the only downside right now is that I've become even more proficient at cursing than I already was. And anyway, I still tend to throw from a standstill position. And any attempt at an X step leads to poor accuracy and a negligible gain in distance. And I was wondering if you guys could tell me how I'd incorporate an X step into my throwing routine effectively. And also, if you guys could recommend some good discs for a beginner like me, I would be extremely grateful.
Cool.
One last thing. 2.5 months ago, I didn't know such a thing as the Glass Blown Open existed. And now I know. And I plan on being up there next year to at least watch the thing and check these guys out in person, because I have not seen that yet.
Awesome.
Anyway, thank you guys, and grow the sport.
That's awesome.
That's great.
If you come out, you better come up and shake our hands.
This gentleman said, or people on the board are saying, we can't hear the question.
You can't hear the question?
Mm-mm.
The question was...
we can't hear the speak pipe, no speak pipe. Yeah, so you can just recap a little bit, you want?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He was talking about he's a beginner from Kansas, didn't even know about GBO until very recently. Talked about tournament coverage that he loves to watch. And he was kind of asking advice on, he's currently a standstill thrower.
Right.
And wanted to know about incorporating a next step and also about some beginner-friendly discs. What a perfect segue for Danny's latest video that just came out about the standstill.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can put that link up later, Bobby, on there, just so, if he hears the question, he can come back to the page and check it out. But yeah, that'd be a great place to go.
Yeah. And I think in general, if your standstill is working and you're having trouble integrating a next step, one thing that we talk about is just starting by just adding one step, just to kind of get the feel of it. But yeah, like Eric said, Danny just put a video out about it. Definitely check that out. For people who are looking for some great beginner discs, like you're really, really new to the sport, we like to start people off with a pretty neutral putter, a pretty neutral mid-range, and a relatively understable driver, right? And so options in the driver range, if you're a brand new beginner, like really, really, really new, then the Witness is going to be your Huckleberry. Just easy to turn to the right and bring back to the left. If you've thrown just a little bit and you've got a little bit of arm speed, the Escape is really a great fairway driver to get started with. A Truth or a Warrant is going to be a great neutral mid-range. And then if you want something with a little bit more stability, all of our favorite disc over here is the EMAC Truth.
Yep.
So you're going to want to check that out. And then basically any of our putters will do for you except the Slammer. That's very overstable, but the Deputy is nice and understable. The Warden and Judge are pretty similarly straight to slightly overstable. Same with the Marshall. So yeah, those are some good ones to try out.
Yeah, Deputy's really good for, I feel like, for beginners, especially slower arm beginners. You can really see what type of putting style you have with the Deputy.
Right, yeah.
So I have no idea why you guys on YouTube can't hear the question, because everything is hooked up like normal. So we'll stick with the regular questions. A lot of you are saying there's a lot of echo. Okay, so bear with us real quick, guys, because we're making some changes to the studio, so that's why there's no background and stuff like that. So that's why it's going to sound a little different. So appreciate your patience with that. So let's go to the questions real quick. Let me pick a good one. This one's from Stephen Barry. Thanks for putting out great content. It's always a pleasure to listen to your show. I'm a high school teacher, and I'm looking to start up a disc golf club at the school where I teach. Do you have any advice or know of anyone I can get in touch with that has started a club in a high school, or to get advice on funding or other aspects of the club? Also, do you know of any high school teams that compete against other high school teams? Thanks, and keep it real.
I know, especially on the foreign side, I know that there's a listener to the show who has done a lot of work with kids in Amsterdam.
Dean?
Yeah, Dean from Amsterdam. His name is Dean Schaub. You might look him up on Facebook. I know that he's worked on getting some clubs into schools and things like that. But just general advice, I think talking to the school and just kind of see what they want to do, what they can support, things like that are always going to be beneficial, instead of just making a plan and then coming in and saying, this is the way we're going to do it. Starting a discussion, I think, is a little bit more helpful.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. Great answer, guys. Next question comes from Kyle. Hey, everyone. My question is about shot selection. I have historically been an aggressive player. I like to take an aggressive line to the basket, run almost every putt, go for the bigger shot, etc. When I am not executing perfectly, this creates a lot of problems and causes me strokes. I want to change my mentality and throw safer shots, but when I get to my lie, I have trouble seeing the safe shot because I'm so used to being aggressive. Do you have any tips for changing my mental game?
Be aggressive.
B-E, aggressive. B-E-A-G-G-R-E-S-S-I-V-E.
Yeah, why not? Get after it.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Conrad said.
Yep.
Did you watch that interview?
What did he say?
On 14, spoiler alert, whatever. He Conrad was on hole 14 at Maple Hill and went for the putt from outside the circle, and it bounced off and into the lake. And Terry Miller at the end of the interview asked him, he goes, "So why did you go for that? What was in your head?" Blah 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 blah. And he goes, "Well, I didn't get there laying up."
Yeah.
Booyah.
You know what I mean?
love
So,
it.
I mean,
I
that's
love it.
such a great answer. I love that answer. I don't know if that's the answer for you, but
Right. I would say if you're, but I agree. That's a pretty great answer.
Yeah.
I would say if you are trying to adjust your mentality, don't try to adjust it during tournaments. Start off on the course by yourself. Go and play a sort of round where you think, I'm going to play for par and see what getting a par on every hole looks like. Or if it's easy to go, placement shot, birdie.
Mm-hmm.
Great, do that. And that may help to just train you just a little bit. But at the end of the day, it doesn't seem super hard for me to see this safe shot, but I don't know. I guess I play a little bit more on the conservative side than, maybe not than most, but than some people. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I always say I'm going to lay up and then don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's human nature.
Yeah. I always say I'm going to lay up and then do, but then sometimes, like Ledgestone, I went to do that once and I still went out of bounds. So
I always say
don't
I'm
do
gonna
that.
lay up, and then the shot is nowhere near where I thought it was going to be.
That's okay.
My favorite is when I'm like, okay, there's a tree right in the middle, so I'm going to hyzer around the tree.
Then you hit the tree.
And I go to throw it, and I go inside the tree, and it's a really good shot because it straightened up and looked really good. People are like, well, good shot, Bobby. I'm like, that's not even
I wouldn't even
close to
try
what
to
I
do
was
that.
trying to throw.
You don't tell people that, though, right?
I tell you guys every now and then.
That wasn't where I was aiming.
Right, yes.
You just say,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been working on that shot.
Yeah, this is Daniel from Sweden, and he says, EMAC has to be in the studio.
Well, here he is.
He is here.
Hello, cool daddy Slick Breeze. Eric, you want the truth and nothing but the truth, McCabe. And Robert,
Truth.
You can't handle the truth, McCall.
Oh,
Hateful. I have
Wow.
3 of them. I throw them a lot.
I have a question, and I'm looking for a serious answer.
oh, okay.
This is the scenario. Ready?
This is
Scenario.
scenario.
PDJ decides that the next year's Worlds only should be played with 1 disc mold.
Ooh.
Nice.
All of the pros today, who would win Worlds with these conditions? A, Warden on a tightly wooded course. B,
So
Warden on an open lawn course. C, EMAC Truth in the woods. Or D, EMAC Truth long course. Keep it unreal. That's what he says.
I mean, this scenario is unreal, so I can.
Right.
This
I can
scenario
respect it.
is super real. It's actually happening in 2020.
Oh, dang. EMAC Truth in the Woods?
Yeah, no, I would say EMAC Truth long bomber open.
You think so?
Yeah, thing goes for days.
Yeah, that's fair.
And who's gonna win?
Probably Eric.
Oakley? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
So what? What was the first part? I missed the first part.
You have it.
I know, but what did you say? A, B, or what do you think?
I said D.
Oh, D, EMAC Truth with the long course.
Yep, long course,
So
long open course.
Trying to figure out our audio issues, Bobby.
What would you say? I know you're probably gonna say Warden.
No,
somewhere, but
I think if you only had to use one, that's probably not helpful.
that would be the ticket.
So maybe you guys will be able to hear speak pipe now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's
So I would not say Warden in the Woods. I would say EMAC. Probably EMAC in the Woods, though.
Yeah.
Just because easy to shape. If everyone has to use the same. Yeah.
All right, we think Danny may have fixed the issue, so we're gonna try a speak pipe question. Hang on, guys. Let me know if you hear it or not on YouTube.
Hey guys, this is David from Springfield, Missouri. I was wondering if, in windy conditions, if a wobbly putt flies straighter, like maybe the wind doesn't get underneath it as much, or maybe it has centrifugal force or something like that. Anyway, yeah, I'd appreciate you. Thanks.
We've got echo sounds. Oh, there's an echo now. Super echo. We're having difficulties.
We
today.
are. So go ahead and answer the question.
yes, we're having echoes today only.
Yeah, today is Echo Day.
What was the question? I don't even.
Sorry, I was
Sorry.
trying to monitor the board while that was being spoken, Bobby.
Yeah, I think the question was. I remember hearing it too. I'm so sorry.
Hey, Bobby,
people.
will
This
you
is awful.
will you
Wanna
play that
play it
again?
again?
Yeah.
Well,
we're-
not if it's going to echo.
Hold on.
Hey guys, this is David from Springfield, Missouri. I was wondering if in windy conditions,
Got it.
if a wobbly
Yes,
putt
yeah, wobbly
flies
putt.
straight.
I don't know the answer to that. Honest, I would personally, I would think that the wind would affect it more
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
because it has more opportunities to get underneath it.
Sure. I think that's a tough one. I see people who putt with a lot of wind, like with a lot of wobble sometimes, like Jay Redding putts super well in the wind, and his are always wobbly. And so
he putts well in the wind too because he's a spin putter. I think.
Yeah,
I personally think.
I agree, but it still does it
does
the old wobble
but it's
on the way to the basket.
Still a spin putt.
Yeah, I think
which is beneficial in the wind.
Definitely. I would say wobble could help you some because yes, there's more of an opportunity for wind to get under it, but if the sides are like alternating what's down, maybe it gets under the flight plate some and then on the top of it some and just kind of levels it out. I think it's probably more effective than something super duper smooth thrown poorly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a spin putt on hyzer with a right to left wind is definitely going higher over the basket than probably a wobbly putt thrown like a wobbly spin putt.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't aim to wobble it in the wind if I were you. I would just try to get it really,
it's not
really
easy
level.
to do either.
Correct. Sweet.
All right. Next one comes from Drunky McTipsy Pants.
Same guy?
I think so. We'll see.
All right. He said this sounds better. So we got.
Hello, Disc Golf Answer Man crew. It is Zach Swanson from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was just watching on YouTube the roundtable discussion about whether or not we should make our targets smaller. Just had a quick thought, which I'm sure a million other people are thinking the same thing. Maybe not. Maybe I'm a freaking genius. But I see if the PDGA were to go to smaller baskets in these MPO tournaments, that taken away from the opportunity for aces to happen, and less aces equals less Sports Center top 10 plays, unless you're Paul Macbeth, and that takes eyes away from our sport, eyes that may have never heard of it or unsure, never played, not really into it, and I think that removes a little bit of excitement, not only for me as a player but for anybody watching that, watching Sports Center that has never seen somebody throw a hole-in-one before. Thoughts,
cool
opinions, comments, concerns, anything you got to say on the subject, I'd love to hear. Thank you so much.
All right.
Ran out of time. Did he spit after he said Paul Macbeth?
I don't know.
Sound like he went Paul Macbeth.
Dude.
I'm not saying you did.
He's throwing on the gauntlet. There's some validity to if we make smaller baskets, we won't have as many aces. That's true. I think part of the argument is like not taking that into account as much as it is making disc golf more difficult and therefore more like golf. Like putting is pretty darn difficult in golf, right?
Putting, to be fair, putting is pretty darn difficult in disc golf.
That's what I was going to get to. Yeah. I think it's easier in disc golf than it is in golf for sure. Yes, but people think it's too easy because a couple of guys are really, a few people are really, 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 really good at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those people are outliers, right? They aren't the vast majority of guys like Ricky and Paul and, James is a fantastic putter. Guys like that. That's not the majority. That's just some people. At least for right now, I'm definitely opposed to decreasing the size of baskets because we do have some excitement. We've got chances for bigger plays, but also you'd have to start going through parks all over the world and replacing baskets. Doubt it. People aren't going to go for that.
Yeah, and I've heard that argument, and then I've heard them say, well, this would only be on the professional level, but there's courses out there that are going to want top-notch professional baskets, and they're going to want those, and it's going to be weird. If they do go through with it, it's going to be weird because obviously those events won't be PDGA sanctioned unless they get PDGA on board, which is going to be very difficult to do. And I watched the was it Symposium about it, and I saw. I have to agree with what Holcomb said. I think you're going to see more layups from 30 feet.
Yeah, it decreases scoring separation.
Yeah, which is boring.
Right.
Nobody wants to watch just layups all day long, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm right now, and I've been on the fence about it, but I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning more towards not. And it's a financial thing too. I mean, baskets are expensive to produce.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's gonna be weird if it goes through. Do you think it's gonna go through, Bobby?
No, I doubt it. I don't think. I think it's always going to be a point of discussion.
Yep.
But I think there's too many things against it. Now that I'm not saying against it in a sense of it needs to help with the competitiveness, but there's too many things that say like the expense of changing it out, and then of course, who decides what the standard is?
What manufacturer gets that basket?
Is the Marksman going to be the standard? Is the Bullseye going to be the standard? Then there's a third one called something.
I don't know. They want the T1s or something, or
yeah.
T2. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Prodigy has one as well. But
so
shrinking the basket too is what I think they want to do.
Right. So,
Like,
but yeah. So I guess then, then who creates a standard? Who's going to pay for that standard?
Right.
Right now, a lot of the baskets that are out there are paid by manufacturers. That's why you see, certain baskets at certain courses because a person reached out to the manufacturer, said, "I really like your baskets," or what are you going to charge for your baskets? Oh, really? I can get these ones for $50 cheaper for whatever reason, so I'm going to go with these guys instead. So not really caring there's a certain standard other than a general standard that all baskets have to be. I just think there's too much. There's too much for it to happen.
Yeah.
Too much red tape.
And there are, and I've heard the argument of, I'm for it as long as this basket catches better.
Yeah.
Which, sure, that sounds great, but I mean, catches better, but it's such a smaller target, so I don't know that you can compare the two.
Yeah.
And there's really not that many, spit outs. Sure, there's quite a few on certain baskets, but when you make a standard for it, like the Pro Tour has, use only those baskets that the players agreed on. I don't know. It's just, there's so much back and forth on it, I think.
Yeah. I'm a proponent of bigger baskets. Make it easier
Larger,
to putt. Yeah.
Smaller frisbees.
If you land inside the circle, then that counts as you made it.
Right. There's your.
If you can touch the metal.
Yes. By running and jumping.
Yes.
Someone on YouTube said, quit comparing ball golf to golf, to disc golf to golf.
That's another argument I've heard out there.
Well, sure. But what I'm saying in this argument is some of the people who are arguing for smaller targets, that's where they're coming from, is putting is harder in golf.
Yeah.
So our putting should be harder. It's obvious that it's easier for us to putt. I'm not saying that the two are similar, though they share a word and, the scoring and things like that, but whatever.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the other argument of spit outs, I don't care what kind of basket you create, there will be a spit out on it, regardless of what you do. We are throwing discs into chains, into a device. There's no way it's going to be 100% accurate. Dude, I don't care.
Tone poles, though.
Tone poles, fine. That's great.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Yeah.
All right, next one comes from Donnie. Let's see how this works with the speed pipe.
Hello, Bobby, Sweet Georgia Brown, Eric, he can handle the truth, McCabe, and Robert, your dream is our meme, McCall.
Oh.
This is Donnie from Washington, longtime listener, first-time question giver.
All right.
I recently jumped from the advanced division to the pro division after a 1030 rated round and a win in my final advanced tournament.
Nice.
Got to play with Dustin Keegan in the skins match. He drew me. Me and him were the two top rounds that day. It was really cool and eye-opening to play with him and walk with Zoe. Great people. My question is, I bumped up in the pro division and just played my first pro tournament. Struggle would be the nice way to put what I did. I don't know what was different. I didn't feel the nerves I thought I did, but I seem to struggle more than I have in the last 2 years in advanced. I'm not 100% sure what happened. I just felt as though I couldn't get anything going. In all my advanced finishes, I would have placed top 10 in pro, and I definitely was not there this last weekend. Any advice from former world champs or soon-to-be 1,000 rated players would be great. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
We don't have any soon-to-be 1,000 rated players
Should we
here,
get-
unfortunately.
What are you talking about? The year's almost over for me, or not quite over for me.
No, yeah. I say you're close. Within a few.
You just all you need to do is go out and have one big round because it'd be the only rating on your...
One big 5,000 rated round.
Wow.
And that'll help.
Dang, that'd be sick.
He shot a 5. No, he played all 18 holes.
Like 5 under? No. 5. All right.
What was the question?
The difference in playing advanced and open.
Yeah. I think it's mental. It's all mental, obviously.
Yes.
So the working on a mental game is what you really need to do.
And the cost.
Well, yeah. Well, that
I'm teasing.
that has nothing to do with his performance.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
maybe he's worried about his bills.
maybe-
Anyway.
well, would you like to go on?
No,
Answer this
go
one?
ahead.
Rude.
Point taken.
But no, what I would say is just really work on your mental game. However you do that, however you can do that. If it's just going out and playing with buddies, putting something on the line, whatever that is it building up your mental game and putting yourself in that situation more and more is what's really going to help you in the long run.
100%. And I do think you see this all the time with top amateurs who move up to open, right?
Yeah.
It seems like they always struggle when they start. And I think a big reason for that is that, well, there's two. One, you're playing with better competition. So you're watching somebody do something that maybe you haven't thought about before, or they're executing more consistently than you're used to. That's part of it. So maybe you feel a little bit more pressure. The other thing is that you're playing for money.
Yeah.
Dollars, like not discs that, I've heard people say it's basically the same. If I win an advanced tournament, I get all this plastic, I can go sell it. Yes, but you still have to do that. Yeah. At the end of the day, if Eric goes and wins the tournament, they're handing him a check for dollars, not discs, right? And
sometimes euros. I play in Europe too.
That's a good point. For currency.
Yes.
There you go. So I do think that plays a part in it as well. Yeah. I think there's more pressure attached when you can leave with a check instead of a stack of plastic.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, next one comes from Colby.
Hey guys, it's Colby from Kentucky. I was curious what you guys do to prepare mentally for your tournaments. As I seem to play practice rounds in these courses pretty well, but as I go to the course, I seem to choke. As being a junior recreational looking to move into intermediate, I was just kind of curious to see what you guys do different mentally than I do that gives you guys this advantage other than the physical differences.
I think it kind of goes in with the last question as well, but a lot of things that I think is in our advantage is just more time, just been there, experienced it much, much, much more. I mean, week in and week out for me for
years,
8 to 10 years or something like that. So I think it's just something you kind of develop over time in a way. And then of course, what else that we'll do is we'll go out and play. Even if we don't have anything on the line, we still want to beat each other.
Yeah, I'm not trying to lose ever.
Yeah,
so it happens a lot.
Of course, well, it happens to everybody.
It
does happen to everybody. But going out and just having a group of 3 or 4 dudes that you go out and play with, you put something on the line if you want. You don't have to, but I like the dollar thing. We $1 on the front 9, $1 on the back 9, and then $1 overall. So the worst you're losing is $3.
Dang it.
The worst you're losing is $3.
Yeah, the worst you're losing is usually $0.
You never know. I mean, sometimes you lose $1.
Yeah.
No, but I highly recommend something along those lines, and it really does help you down the road when you're playing tournaments and in that situation where you need to make the putt. And also the other thing on the flip side, when you're playing events and tournaments, I recommend not knowing what you're shooting, not knowing if you need this putt. You'll know if I need to make this putt or I should make this putt. But if you know for a fact that this putt is to tie for the win or to tie for my hot round, you're probably going to miss that putt.
Yeah.
There are more chances of you missing that putt than making that putt. So just not knowing the situation at all can be beneficial.
I think so too. I also think it's worth your while when you're practicing to not always play from your best drive. I see a lot of people do this where they'll go and throw 5 shots on a hole and then walk up to the one that they just pured. That's like in the perfect spot and throw from there. because that's not how tournaments go. Sometimes you throw bad shots.
Play like your worst shot.
Yeah, or if it's a super shank off the tee and you hit first available, maybe not. But just don't always play
your worst shot.
I do think it's helpful to play different drives so that you're used to more situations. So when you get to that, you're not flustered. You're like, I've thrown this shot.
No.
Next one comes from Oklahoma.
Oh.
What up, DGAM fam? This is Oklahoma. Got a couple questions for you here. I started about 3 months ago, and I've really been focusing on my form and videotaping myself and watching and trying to correct things before they get too out of hand. And I had an issue with, nose up and follow through and things, but I've gotten that sorted out. So I've got a pretty flat reach back, flat release, and have had really good disc flight. But recently I noticed that I was leading the disc instead of getting my hand on the outside during my pull through, and made an adjustment. And now I'm turning everything over. It seems like, prime example, my go-to kind of fairway to long driver is the St. Pro. And now I'm getting a lot of turnover on that. So I guess my question on that is, do you slow down your arm speed or try and induce a little less hit whenever you start having that issue? And second question is, how far back are people looking in their reach back? I hear people looking straight forward. I have a tendency to look further back in my reach back, just trying to make sure that I'm not getting something too out of whack, but I seem to throw all right with it. So thanks for the help, guys.
What you got?
Question number one.
Questions number one. Well, I'm going to do the second one first so we don't forget it.
Go ahead.
On my reach back, I'm not looking back at all, actually. Maybe a touch, but I like to keep my eyes kind of on the target for the most part. I think when I'm doing my reach back, my head naturally turns back a little bit, but for the most part, I'm keeping my eyes straight forward on the target. I don't like to look back and then look forward, because typically what will happen is if I look back, take my eyes off the target, like if it's a wooded hole or got to beat a tree, when I come back through, if my eyes focus on that first tree, I'm probably going to hit that first tree.
Chances are.
So that's why I like to prefer to keep my eye on the target.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, naturally, instead of when I reach back thinking I am going to look backwards now, just kind of as my body turns, I think. Is
not over dramatically looking back.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the first question?
The first question was he has a St. Pro and he's starting to turn it over more. Do we recommend that he starts looking for a different disc, or does he slow his arm speed down because he's starting to turn that disc over a lot more?
Gotcha. Depends on the disc. If it's a pretty beat-in one, a lot of times if you only have one of a certain mold, like if you only have one St. Pro, sometimes you've thrown that enough that it's beat up to where it's understable on its own. Maybe your arm speed's improved, but maybe it's just understable. So I think it's worth getting another one of those and trying that. But if it's to where that disc is past its utility for you, then take a step up in stability. You know, something like I really like the Getaway. It's going to be faster and a little bit more overstable than the St. Pro. Actually, probably similar speed, but a little bit more overstable. Or even something like the Fortress would both be really good ones for you to try out if your arm speed is past what you want the St. Pro to do.
Yeah,
try those out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, I also see the side of things that for me personally, my 80% power shots are the most accurate.
Yeah,
instead of like even 90 to 100%. 100% is just something you should never do, in my opinion. Period. But when I tone everything back and really focus on form as opposed to power, that's when I'm getting the most accurate shots.
Agreed.
Next one comes from James.
Conrad?
I think so.
What's up, Disc Golf Ansman crew? I have a question for you. During the MVP Open beforehand, Steve Dodge had some pros on talking about whether the disc golf basket should be shorter because they're looking at the putts and the different things that people are doing, the 70-footers and what have you. They're saying is a bit much as a way to kind of lower the, I guess, the scores to be a little more like traditional golf. My question is whether you agree or disagree with the disc golf basket? Wouldn't it make more sense to make the greens harder with different obstructions than it would be to change the disc golf basket? Anywho, what are your thoughts on that? Let me know. Keep up the good work.
Let me know. So
Let me know.
It started out kind of the same question we had before, but he did bring up. I wanted to see if he brought up like a different point.
It was
but
good. He did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he brought up a different point in that one of the arguments was why worry so much about the basket and not so much the way the courses are designed if we're looking to create more challenging events for players.
Yeah, I would personally rather see courses get more difficult. Now, by that, I don't mean when you say add something to the green, so the right side is more punishing to where you can't really have a putt on there. I'm fine with that as long as that's like
within reason,
shrubs or bushes or trees or bunkers or something like that, as opposed to a sign or a banner or stuff like that. I just don't want that kind of the tacky feel, I guess. I don't really care for.
I agree.
Not that anybody's done this. I'm not calling anybody out by any means. I haven't seen this, but I could see a potential. Let's make this green hard by putting up a wall right here. I'm not. Right. I don't like that at all.
Artificial stuff. That's never going to be my favorite.
Sometimes you got to do it. I get it. Mm-hmm. When you don't have anything, I understand that.
Right. But yeah, I think there's something to making greens more difficult, especially instead of changing the basket size.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. People are like, during this whole debate, they're like, blah, 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 people are shooting 18 under. It's like, it happened once.
No, that happened once, and it's literally the greatest disc golf round ever played.
One time it happened.
Okay.
And, I mean,
awesome.
Yeah. Until we have multiple times where that's happening by multiple players, then I think.
If that becomes the norm, we've got a different problem to deal with.
All right, that's the last one on Speak Pipe is from Tim.
Hey, Trilogy Trio. My name's Tim. I'm from Nash.
No.
All right. I said nice. Bob said no.
Hey, Trilogy Trio. My name's Tim. I'm from Nashville. First time, long time. My question has to do with whether a disc I have is permissible. It's a Latitude 64 Pure, but when I first bought it, I didn't buy it with the intention of using on the course. I used it because it's a small disc. I have a small dog, so I would use it to play fetch with my dog. Well, he loves it, but I also ended up loving it. I got really used to it, and it became a really nice understable putter. A lot of it because my dog has been into it a lot. Now, he hasn't punctured it or anything, but I know that Rule 813.01 forbids illegal alteration of a disc. So what do you guys think? Is this a legal disc or has me getting my dog to bite the disc to death without puncturing it, is that an illegal alteration? Thanks, and look forward to hearing from y'all.
I mean, if there's no like holes through it, I think it's fine. I've seen some pretty beat up discs out there
for sure. I would be careful if your dog had bitten through parts of the rim to where they were just like that part of the rim is gone. Like there's just a bunch of teeth marks. I'd be careful of that. But if it's just teeth marks, but they're not, there's no like perforations. Yeah, then you're good to go. And if that works, I'm probably going to start trying that with my dog.
Also, I would highly recommend giving your dog a bite from Latitude 64, made of the optoplastic, little light, very durable. And my pups love them.
And if it's a little puppers, then get a puppy
bite.
Puppy.
Yep. So it's just a little bit
smaller. Walter loves his bite.
Does he tear it up?
Well, yeah, when we leave it with him. But if we just go throw it, he's
if he sits there chewing on it,
it's going to break.
They're going to tear it up.
Any disc or any toy even is going to break down. Yeah, but if you just go out and play catch, that will last for forever. It's awesome.
Forever.
All right, so we're coming to the end of this episode. So if you're on YouTube and you're watching, you get to send in a few questions that we'll ask. I'm going to ask one more question from the Google Forms, and that way give you guys time to ask on the chat on YouTube. So if you're wanting to be part of that, make sure you tune in roughly around 1-2-ish
Two-ish.
Around two-ish to watch us on YouTube. So this question comes from Tanner. Hey guys, love the show. I've noticed that watching the In the Bags with various people that most of the pros carrying more plastics of a specific disc instead of multiple molds to shape their shot, i.e. a trespass in lucid, biofusion, or prime for overstability, slightly more understable. Why? Is that a strategy? Or just about confidence with a specific driver, fairway, or mid-range? Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, thanks, Tanner. I think it's more being familiar with the mold that you're throwing the most. For me personally, I do carry a couple different types of plastic, but it's really more of like an enforcer in lucid and an enforcer in biofusion. Most of my other discs I try to keep all lucid because or hybrid because I just prefer that plastic personally. And the reason that I have the biofusion enforcer in the bag is because it has similar, well, obviously similar feel, but similar flight to my the lucid counterpart, but it's just a touch less overstable, so I can get a little more distance out of it. I can throw them on similar angles, but get further flights or whatever the case is. So I personally think it's just a familiar thing with the way it feels.
Yeah, and having an easy way to have different stages of wear, I think that's what a lot of people like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I've seen players that, man, I just lost my go-to enforcer. It was nice, and it would pop up a little and fly straight. It was so good. What am I ever going to do? Well, they pick up a bio enforcer, and boom, it's right there.
Bang.
In that same flight category. So,
all right, so a couple people have some questions on getting a disc golf course. Similar questions here. One wants to know about installing baskets at a local golf course, and how should I even start the conversation?
That's a tough one. That's especially if this golf course is popular. You know, if they're not struggling to keep the doors open, or if they are in fact looking for a, source of revenue, a new source of revenue that could be coming in. My recommendation would just be, get all your ducks in a row, so to speak, and make sure you can answer any questions that they're going to throw back at you, and go in and just kind of start conversation up.
And that would pretty much apply to the other guy because he said something about opening a course on his local at a local park. I would think you would want, now this is just me, I like having a lot of information, so I'd almost want to start networking with people at the golf club.
Yeah.
Can you find out to see if the members would really be open to that? And if they're not, then you just got to know that's just, now's not the time. The same with the park. Maybe they don't want to have a course there. Maybe they're fine with what's going on. Maybe they don't want someone coming in putting their basket. So you need to start finding out who is influences there. Who's an influence at the golf course that maybe could get you in that is cool with disc golf. Who's an influence at the local park. It might be someone at a Parks and Rec department, or it might be someone at a local club. And that way you can kind of start finding out if that's even a option for them to look into. And then from there, you're going to want to give them information on other parks and other golf courses that have done this and their success with it, because everybody wants to know what's in it for them. So what's in it for the park?
Yep.
Well, you get more people to come to the park. People love the town they're in and they're happy. What's in it for the golf course? Maybe they're running out of money. This will give them another source of revenue. That's the way I look at it.
Nailed it.
Crushed it.
Someone said, what's a disc from any manufacturer that's a speed 8 through 9 with a straight flight? This shot is something I've been really searching for. Depending on your arm speed, a really straight shot for me, well, I guess it's not super straight.
What?
I was thinking the Maverick I should throw that for a straight shot, but it's not completely straight.
Yeah, it's a 7-speed, but I mean, close enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. See how much I know about speeds.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's just a shot I like.
Yeah, I'm with Bobby there. I was going to say, well, and what you said too, it depends on your arm speed. Because for me, I have an Explorer in my bag that I can fly on a rope.
Yep, same.
Do they allow ropes out on the course?
They do.
Okay.
They do. Some courses.
For testing, so that you can see how straight
how straight the disc flies.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, so I mean, it kind of depends. But I would recommend maybe picking up a Convict, and if that thing is a little too understable for you, step up to the Getaway or Explorer, and then if it's too overstable for you, step back to the Escape.
Mm-hmm. Or even you might try a stag too.
No, I wouldn't try stag.
Stag is it's actually pretty good.
It's a great disc. I'm just
really
kidding.
super duper straight,
It
easy
is.
to throw.
Yeah.
You might
Something
try
I'm thinking about
And
trying.
Northman.
Hey,
I
maybe
know Paige Bjork is crushing that
Is she?
Northman right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
is
dig
the
it.
sword.
S word.
I feel like I want to throw it again.
Sword.
It's like a beat in trespass.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking.
Seasoned
I think
trespass.
that would be good. I think that would be good.
Do it, Bob.
The moonshine ones we were throwing out on New Release Friday were fantastic.
Yeah.
Super easy to throw.
We
That's
also have a lot of new releases this Friday.
Oh yeah, OptoX and Lucid X
Lucid
stuff.
Yeah. So Team Series stuff.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for
Buy all
tuning
the
in.
Lucid X
Appreciate you
trespasses.
out on YouTube land, and we appreciate you on Audioville.
Audioville.
Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We're going to not be here next week because Robert and myself and Jeremy will be in Vermont taking care of Pro Worlds. Eric, I thought you were traveling for something. Was it vacation or for course design?
No. Not
All right.
until the end of the month.
Oh, okay. Then I guess I thought it was.
I may go to Hayes, Kansas for the Frontier Open.
So maybe
Is that this weekend?
Yes. No, it's
Or
next
weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter to me anyway.
You'll be gone.
yeah,
Yeah.
dang it.
Yeah.
So you'll be here. So maybe we can talk one of the guys to help you on the technical side.
Yeah, that's
And,
what I said.
you
Maybe
could do a
maybe we
solo-
can do a
you could
little. Maybe neither one of them want to.
Yeah, teach the boys how to do disc golf instrument.
No, Anthony says no. So I'm sorry,
Yes.
viewers. We can't
Yeah.
do it.
Make sure you check out Anthony on Facebook and let him know how you feel about that.
I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out by myself. I don't need you guys.
So
I would
anyway.
love nothing more than Anthony's wall to just be full of people like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, please do it.
Come on, dude. Why would you do this?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.